afternoon, everybody. This is Ellen Schroeder with Out of the Box Technology, and we are doing what's new in QuickBooks 2019 today, and we've got 2 minutes, but we thought we would just come on and say hi to everybody. Lisa McCarthy is one of the owners of our company, and we're so excited that she's taken the time to tell us what's going on in QuickBooks, because there's a lot of good features and a lot to go over. So we got 1 minute here. You can always, just a little housekeeping, you can always, if you have any questions, you can always send them to me, within the dashboard of GoToMeeting, but we'll leave some time at the end for some Q&A as well. But if you have any, feel free to do that as well. So I think we'll get started here. Oh, that's me. Again, Ellen Schroeder. I'm your moderator. Actually, Jennifer Darachuk handles our presentations, our Technology Tuesdays, but she's not feeling good today. She doesn't have a voice, so so I get to do it for you, and just to welcome everybody. Just want to give you a little bit of background again about Out of the Box Technology, what we do, and it's a myriad of things. We have, of course, our core services, which is QuickBooks, anything around QuickBooks, training, integration, hosting, support. You can purchase software through us. We also have our bookkeeping division. We do website design, custom app development. We've been doing a lot of that and have a lot of great clients, and love to talk to you about our services in that area. Data migrations, if you're going from, Peachtree or another accounting software to QuickBooks, we handle those. And we have a niche services in the franchise space as well. We service a lot of franchises with their bookkeeping and QuickBooks. So we love our franchise clients. Just want to show you guys this too. We have our product, Recur 360. It's our recurring payments and solution, and it's really awesome. You should go to recur360.com, but we were recognized recently as one of the top 10 billing and invoicing solution providers with CFO Tech Outlook. It's an online magazine, and Lisa there and Andrew, our other owner. And this is a great look, kind of a retrospective of how Recur 360 started, why it started, how it's helping so many clients. This magazine is actually on the front page of outoftheboxtechnology.com, so you can learn more. We're just really excited about this, and has so much information about what Recur 360 does. So now let's go to Lisa, who's going to do the presentation on what's new in QuickBooks 2019. So Lisa, I will change to presenter here and make you presenter.
Okay.
And I gotta find you here. There you are.
Okay. I am sharing my screen.
Oh, I see it.
All right, great. So welcome everybody. Thanks for taking time out during your lunch hour to join us for our Technology Tuesday. As you know, QuickBooks comes out with a new version every year, and so today we're going to go over the new stuff in 2019. And some of them are just subtle differences, some of them are bigger enhancements. So we'll go through that, and then I'll try to answer some questions at the end. So with that, I'm going to jump right in. So that's me over on the left, if you've never met me in person. I am one of the co-founders of Out of the Box. We also created Recur 360, which Ellen was talking about. It's a automated invoicing, payment, and collection solution. We are an Intuit solution provider. So what that means is if you are needing products, in any Intuit product or service like payroll or merchant processing, you can contact us and we can make sure that you get the best possible pricing. We know about what what the specials are before they're going to happen, so we can help you time your purchasing decisions. I've been on many councils for Intuit. I'm currently on the Enterprise Council and Advanced Inventory Product Council for Intuit. So we meet quite frequently and talk about their product and what needs to be changed and whatnot. So feel free to always share your ideas with us, and we will be sure to pass them along. I'm advanced certified in everything and certified in everything. I'm actually the original author of Intuit's advanced, their very first ProAdvisor certification courses that came out in 1999. And I've been on their customer council and also a trainer and writer for Intuit. So very involved in the QuickBooks space. So we're going to be going over each of these products. The only one I'm not really going to talk about today is the desktop product for the Mac. That product has not really changed at all. They stopped releasing updates for the Mac, and now they've started back up. Intuit actually gets contracted by Apple to do this, and so when their contract expires, they stop developing, and then when they renew it, they start developing again. So you can now buy desktop for Mac, but we're going to get into some of the new features of Pro and Premier. So starting out with the invoice status tracker, when you click on an invoice transaction, you'll see a status now at the top, a little see history link. And if you click and open that link, you will now be able to see when the invoice was created, when it was emailed, if you're invoicing and emailing out of QuickBooks, if the customer has viewed it, and then if any payments have been received and if that payment's been deposited. So really you can see the whole cycle from creation to payment to deposit into the bank. Another new feature for 2019 is what they call transferring credits. So this is on the accounts receivable side. So it used to be in the past, if you were doing job costing and you had, say, a credit balance on one job and you wanted to apply that to a different job, it was a very, very manual process. You'd have to set up a clearing account, you'd have to do manual journal entries, and move the credit out of one customer record and into the other. So that's one of the things they solve for with this new version. Now you can take an unused credit on one job or project and apply it to another project. So in this screen that we're looking at, we've got a balance due on this remodel job, and we want to apply this credit from outstanding credit from this painting job. Same customer, two different jobs. If I click on the discount and credit button, now I can apply it. And what it's going to do is it's actually going to create this other current asset account in the chart of accounts. It's going to name it Account for Credit Transfer. So it creates this clearing account automatically. It does mark it inactive. So if you want to look at it and go into the register, you'll have to go into the chart of accounts and make it active. So it essentially does what we used to have to do manually, but it does it for us. So it creates that account the first time you use this feature. And then if you double click on that account in the chart of accounts, you'll see the transfer of the credit out of one customer and then the transfer into the other customer so that it can be applied and closed, use it to close out a receivable balance. So that's how that feature works. Another new feature is this check to bill pay. So people that are new to QuickBooks often get confused about the differences between writing checks and paying bills. And so this is an attempt to try to prevent errors, really, in my opinion. So if a user is going in and they attempt to write a check to a vendor that already has outstanding payables, it will pop up and say, wait a minute, you have amounts due in accounts payable, and it will give you the option to go to the pay bill screen right from the write check window. to circumvent your propensity to make a mistake is really what they're trying to do. So if you click that Go to Pay Bills link, it will bring you into the Pay Bills window, but it filters for that particular vendor that you were attempting to write a check for, and only shows the open payables for that particular vendor. So again, it's just a way to help people not do things wrong in QuickBooks. This is kind of a new feature that I'm excited about. It's called Data File Optimization, and what it allows you to do is a special option for archiving or condensing. It used to be that you could only archive transactions to make your file smaller. Now you can actually remove the audit trail, which the audit trail, if your file is old, can get very, very large and consume a lot of space within your computer. So they now allow you to keep all your transactions, but just basically start over with the audit trail. Remove what's there and start fresh. If you attempt to use this feature, it will prompt you to log in as the admin. So you do need the admin credentials to launch this. When you select this option, when it's completed, it will come back and it will tell you, okay, your file used to be 36 megabytes, and now after we did the archive, it's only 15 megabytes. So it reduced the file size by 58%. Now, because it's an audit trail and you may need that information at some point in the future, just like the other archive or condense functions, it will make a copy of the file exactly as it is, including the audit trail, and save that in a location that it specifies here. So you still have access to that audit trail and pre-archive copy of your file in the event you needed to look something up. But your new file moving forward will have a brand new, fresh, empty audit trail, and we'll start accumulating the data from that point forward. Okay, another new option for 2019 is this EMV support for credit cards. So in an attempt to combat fraud, Intuit has now provided the option to use EMV card readers, and they can be connected to the desktop version of QuickBooks to allow for more reliable processing of credit card payments. So when you're in the receive payment screen, if you have one of these devices connected, if you click on this button right here to swipe the card and then stick the card in, it will fill out all the payment information and allow you to process the card that way rather than manually typing it in. Okay, this is a great one. This is one we've been begging for forever. For those of you that are using inventory, there has long been a problem that the inventory valuation summary report, which is basically has all the details of what you have in inventory, this report should always tie to your balance sheet. So if you run a balance sheet on December 15th and look at the inventory asset number, it should match this number right here. This is the detail behind what's on your balance sheet. Just like an accounts receivable aging should match the accounts receivable balance on your balance sheet. Very similar. But for many reasons, this report in the past has not matched. And one of the reasons that this report doesn't match the balance sheet is often people will inactivate an inventory item in their list because they no longer sell it or want to deal with it. But if that inventory item has a quantity and value on hand, it will create a discrepancy between this report and the balance sheet if it's made inactive, because this report traditionally did not include any items that were inactive. So that would be a discrepancy between the financial statement and this report. So now they allow you to check the box to include inactive inventory items on this report, which is really helpful. Another reason, this isn't a new feature, but this is just an explanation of why this report would not tie to your balance sheet. If you do a journal entry to the inventory asset account, or you enter a bill and you don't use the items tab and you just post the bill directly to inventory asset, those will also cause discrepancies between this report and the value of inventory on the balance sheet. So at some point, if you're using the inventory module in QuickBooks, you want to get this report to match the balance sheet. If you need help with that, that's something we certainly can help you. Okay, another big new feature to 2019. So the IIF report or imports have been around forever, and what they allow you to do is transfer lists out of one QuickBooks file and pull them easily into another QuickBooks file. You can also import transactional data through an IIF import, and many third-party developers and some payroll service companies will use the IIF import methodology to bring in data to QuickBooks. The problem in the past is the IIF tool does not check for errors, data errors, before importing. It would just push the data into QuickBooks. And that has often caused corruption because list entries will get duplicated, or data that's not valid will come into the file. And sometimes you don't know that that's happened for a very long time, and then you try to run a verify or a rebuild, and you have problems. So what they have done in 2019 is they have allowed for the error checking. You can override that. You can choose to just go ahead and import it. Don't do any of the checking, and you'll have to fix it later if there's a problem. I don't recommend that. Now what you would do is choose this Import IIF button, and it will go through all of these steps, allow you to go through all of these steps before the actual import completes. So when you choose that option, it will import everything that it can. So it is slow. I just have to warn you, it is going to be 3 to 4 times slower, maybe even more than that, to import an IIF. It used to be a very quick process, but with this data checking, which is a good thing, it's going to slow everything down. So you'll get a report back telling you which or the number of successful transactions, and then the ones that are failed. The ones that fail, it will create a separate file and save it in this location so that you can open it up, deal with any data errors, save it, and then go ahead and import it again, the ones that had errors. Okay, before we get into this part of the presentation, Ellen, should we open it up and see if anybody's got any questions real quick?
Yep, you bet. Let me see here. Everybody's on mute, but if you have a question, you can raise your hand. Yeah, chat as well.
Or they can put it in the chat box. I don't know if I'll see it. So if I don't see it, you might have to read it to me.
Oh, yes, you bet. I'm not seeing anything, Lisa.
Okay.
So,
do we want to take people off mute, or that's too hard to do, probably, huh? Nobody's raised their hand?
No, nobody's raised their hand. So, or written in the chat box either.
Okay. Everybody's eating their lunch, I guess. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so let's get into enhanced pick, pack, and ship. So some of this process is not new for 19. But in order to talk about the new stuff, I just want to do a quick review of some of the 2018 changes just to make the discussion a little easier here. So in 2018, they introduced the ability to use mobile devices to help in the inventory process. So you could either use an Android or this MC40 scanner, which is a little bit pricey. It's anywhere between $700 and $1,500. And you could use one of these two devices with the Platinum version of Advanced Inventory. So if you have Enterprise Platinum, that includes the Advanced Inventory, and then you can connect one of these devices. So how that falls into the product, so I'm in Enterprise right now. If you have the Platinum version, this Advanced Inventory Settings button is not grayed out. So it's active, you can click on it. When you click on it, you now have a 5th tab. So this Site Operation tab is new for 2018. And when they added that feature, there was a little checkbox here that says New Sales Order Fulfillment Worksheet. You could turn that on, and so instead of the traditional view of the Sales Order Fulfillment Worksheet, you now had an enhanced view that included picking, mobile picking. To use this with a mobile device, you've got to first add a device. So in this window, you would click the Add button, and then on the device itself, you have to download the QuickBooks Desktop Warehouse app if you're using an Android, or if you're using that scanner, you have to download an app. Once the app is installed on the device, then after you've clicked the Add button, QuickBooks will produce this code. And so you type that code into the mobile device and save it, and then the two will be connected. So now this device is essentially paired with this QuickBooks file. So that was all around in 2018. In addition, in order to assign tasks to somebody using a device, you had to set them up as warehouse users within the QuickBooks file. So if John Smith here was an employee, you would still have to set him up as a vendor and maybe differentiate his name with a letter like -W for warehouse user. So anybody that's going to be using these mobile devices that you want to assign tasks to needs to be in the vendor list. And on this additional info tab, we need to select that he or she is a warehouse user. This is a new option that will appear when you turn all of this on, and it's a vendor type that's a default vendor type for this advanced inventory and the whole warehouse module. So all users need to be set up as vendors, and on the additional info tab, they have to be identified as a warehouse user. Okay, so we're still talking about 18, but once you've got the device enabled, you've got the warehouse users set up, and you've chosen to use this enhanced sales order fulfillment worksheet, when you choose this option, now you're going to get this order status on the orders menu. So these are your outstanding sales order, and you can see the status of whether they've been picked or not picked, and if it's open. So to assign it to a user in a warehouse, so if you have multiple sites turned on, you can assign a sales order to a site, and then when you're ready to assign it to a picker, which is part of this pick list tab, you can choose the picker to assign it to, and that's going to allow you to choose that picker's name, and it's going to send it to the device if he's got a handheld device. So if it's sent to the handheld device, it will show up. They can see everything that's on that order. They can go pick it and add it. And then when they confirm that this is everything that they're able to pick and click confirm or complete, it will come back with this good job message on the device. So that whole picking process is that status is updated on the sales order form. So if someone else in QuickBooks has pulled up a sales order and they want to know the status, they can see that it's in the picking process, but it's not quite finished. So the whole purpose is to create more visibility within QuickBooks across users so they can see what's going on with an open sales order. So on this pick list tab, so this is the new tab that was new in 2018. Now you can see the status. This window, though, just so you know, you have to manually refresh it. So in order to refresh it, you have to hit that little double arrow, and it will then go out and pick up the latest information from the devices. And then to update the sales orders with that new status, you would click Update the Sales Order button down here. So now on the sales order, you can see that it's picked, and now everybody knows that it's ready, and we're keeping everybody in the loop. I see a question popping up, so I'm going to just pause for a second. I don't know if that was just Ellen typing in or if there was someone else.
I was just telling people that they could ask a question there in the chat
Okay.
box.
I didn't know if anybody else had typed something in. It was blinking at me, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't ignoring someone. So, okay. I will keep going. Okay, so that's 2018. In 19, they enhanced the pick, pack, ship process and added the pack and ship tab. So really it's just the pack tab. But so now in this enhanced sales order fulfillment worksheet, we've got a new tab, and I apologize that some of these screenshots are a little blurry. But this last tab now says pack. So when you're on this tab, now you can send to the mobile devices, you can send instructions to go pack something. So first you pick it, then you pack it, then you ship it. You can go right to marking something as shipped, but this tab is meant to allow you to go through the whole workflow. So on this tab, when you're on this pack tab, you can see the status, again, if it's completed or it's in process, or if it's a particular line item on an order has been packed. You can also add your package information. You can send it to a device, again, so they can go scan it and add it to the package, add the weight. You can launch the shipping manager that is built into QuickBooks and interface with your FedEx, UPS, or USPS account if you have one set up, and print your shipping labels. If you click this ship button down here in the bottom right-hand corner, it will post the tracking number back onto the sales order form, and you can also print your shipping label. Okay, one more new thing. Well, there's actually a few more, but the next new thing we're going to talk about is cycle counts. So again, this is related to advanced inventory, and it's new for 2019. So a cycle count is something that you would set up and do either in conjunction with or in lieu of a full inventory. So most people don't have the luxury of shutting business down and closing business for 2 days and running around a warehouse and taking count. So what they do is they perform cycle counts. So they hand select specific items out of their warehouse that they want to count, and they do separate counts throughout the month or throughout the year, quarterly, or whatever cycle that they want. So that's the definition of a cycle count. From within QuickBooks Enterprise, if you have this advanced inventory functionality, you will see under the inventory tab a new option called cycle count. Cycle count. When you select that option for the first time, it is going to ask you to connect and log into your Intuit account. So you need to have that information handy. If you don't, it will come up with this error message. So just wanted to throw that out there that you're going to need to know your Intuit login. All right, once you're in the cycle count screen, it looks kind of like the sales order fulfillment screen a little bit, but it's got a different purpose. So you can create a new cycle count with this button right here. This window will show only the last 30 days of cycle counts. So it does have a limited visibility. To create a new one, you're going to click on this button and you're going to choose what warehouse, if you have more than one, are you going to do the count for, and who are you going to assign it. And so if you aren't sure which warehouse user you want to assign it to, it's kind of cool. You can leave it unassigned. And so that count request will go to all the warehouse users, and whoever wants to pick it up and basically assign it to themselves can do that. So if you don't assign it to anyone, you leave it unassigned, it's available for anybody to pick up and actually complete the task. Okay, so you've defined your warehouse, you've left it unassigned, and now you've got to find and select which items you want to include in your cycle count. So this is a very manual process. If you had, 5,000 items in your inventory, and maybe you had a subset of 500 at a time, you wanted to set up a bunch of different cycle counts for different groupings of 500, roughly 500 different products, or 100, or whatever that number is. You need a methodology to easily find and select those items. So they did not really solve for that with the advent of this new process, cycle count process. So you kind of have to come up with a workaround on your own. And one way we have advised people to do is within the item list, set up a custom field and define every item, define what cycle count you want it to be in. So come up with a naming methodology or a numbering methodology for all the different types of cycle counts you want. And every item in your list that's inventory or an assembly, assign that to a specific cycle count number or name. That way, when you click Find and Select Items in this window, you can say search on that custom field, and it will automatically find all the items that are part of that cycle count that you've defined. So then once you've done that, if you have a mobile device, which I don't have available to demo for you, but you could send that to the mobile device to do the count. If you don't have a mobile device, you can click that Create and Export to Excel button, and that will open up Excel, and it will take just those items that are part of that cycle count and put them in a spreadsheet. And so you can't modify this spreadsheet. You can't remove columns or do anything because it won't import back in if you do that. So you can manually type in the quantity that you've counted. You can put any associated notes and then save that worksheet. Now that it's saved, back in the cycle count window, you can click at the bottom where you see Import from Excel. You can click that button right here. Okay, that will pull that cycle count in to this window, and it will show you, this is what I entered on the spreadsheet, this is the proposed difference now. And so when you have a zero difference, meaning there were 23 on hand according to the system, and when I filled out the worksheet, I put in 23, the status is basically complete because there's nothing more that needs to be done with those two items. But the rest of these have an issue and need to be adjusted. Now you can either agree with these counts, or if something looks really way out of whack, like I know I don't have 200 of these, I either want to dismiss this as part of my adjustment, or I can actually change that quantity right on the screen. So if I wanted to go out and count it myself and I say, nope, there was really only 180, I could change that on this screen if I'm the warehouse manager before I initiate my inventory adjustment. But assuming you agree with what's on the screen or you've typed in what you think is appropriate, now you can, under this batch action, you can click off everything that's pending, and you can click this Adjust Quantity on Hand. And that'll bring up an inventory adjustment screen, which is what you used to use traditionally anyway to fix your inventory counts. And it will bring it up as a quantity adjustment. You can choose whatever adjustment account you want, and it will pull up the associated inventory site that you were doing the cycle count on, and it'll bring up the associated adjustments or quantity differences. Now, one thing to note here, when you first look at this screen, the total value of the adjustment is going to show 0. But when you save it and then you go back and look at it, there is actually a dollar adjustment, and it's based on the average cost of the items that you're adjusting. So while it looks like there's not going to be a change to the inventory value as a result of this adjustment, once you save it and go back and look at it, there actually is. So hopefully that's something they'll fix in a new update. Okay, so just a review of the different statuses of these cycle counts. So open means I haven't done anything with it, I haven't counted it. Pending review means I've counted it and it's ready to do an adjustment. Complete means I've done the adjustment, complete means that the quantity counted and the QuickBooks inventory quantity match. So there is no adjustment needed to be done. And then once you're done with it, you can mark them all by selecting that little box at the top, and you can click closed, and right here, mark as closed under batch action, and then that will change them all to this grayed out status of closed. So that's kind of the final step. After you do your inventory adjustment, you mark everything as closed, and then when you filter on this, so you can filter this screen just for things that are pending review and really get down to the ones that you're worried about dealing with at the time, because the screen will get very cluttered as you have more and more and more inventory items that you're counting. Okay, another new feature is enhanced sick and vacation pay tracking. So if you have an active payroll subscription and you're on 2019, there's going to be a new option under sick time where you can control how the accruals work and actually cut it off to accrue a max at a time. So this is to give greater visibility or greater control over maximum accrued sick time hours. So they've also enhanced the visibility into payroll permissions. So because payroll is often so sensitive, that data was a little bit prone to people getting into areas of the software that they shouldn't. And so you'll notice now that names that have unlimited or unrestricted access to view everything, including payroll, they're going to have a little asterisk next to their name in the users section, and it will do the same thing on the roles list. So if you're an enterprise and you want to quickly see who could see payroll, anybody with an asterisk next to their name or any role that's got an asterisk, that payroll information is going to be visible. So a little easier to tell now who might be able to see a payroll check. If you're modifying a role and you want to see exactly what they have access to, now if there's 2 asterisks, that means that they're going to have unrestricted access to view the transactions, including payroll. So the asterisks, look for a single or a double asterisk, and that's going to tell you that that information may be subject to viewing by somebody that maybe you don't want to view that. This is just a summary spreadsheet of, kind of the new things in each of the versions. And then I'm going to just throw this up there. And Alan, let's open it up if there's any questions. I know I've been doing all the talking. I apologize. Trying to get a lot of information out quickly.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot to do. I don't see any hands raised at this particular time. Nobody, probably most people have questions about, I know, their current QuickBooks as opposed to 19, maybe.
Could be.
Opposed post to the new,
So if
all the new features?
if you all have questions after this is over or want help, feel free to reach out to us. This is our contact information, and we can get you connected with somebody that can answer your questions and work with you on your individual problems or issues with QuickBooks. So that's what we're here for, and we're glad you all joined. And I guess, Ellen, if we have no questions, which is truly amazing. I don't think I've never done a session without questions, but that's okay.
Well, we're here to answer them after people think about them too, later in the day. Well, that's usually what happens to me. I usually think of stuff after, but we're here to answer those questions then too. And we have more Technology Tuesdays coming up as well. All in January, we're going to really show a lot of the things that out-of-the-box technology does, and really get granular on all those solutions that we offer, so that you can learn more about us, how you can come to us for a lot of different solutions. So watch for that to come up in the newsletters that we send out, and you can always go to our website and find all the information that you need about all the stuff that we do. So I'd say we're all set, Lisa. Thanks for taking the time to do this. It's always great information, and we love it when you do our Technology Tuesdays as well.
All right. Well, thank you all, and have a fabulous holiday if I don't talk to you personally. And it's been a great year for Out of the Box, and I hope it's been a great year for everybody else. We're excited about all the new stuff going on. So thank you for joining.